Ahoy, me hearties. Welcome back to the channel, where we set sail on a voyage through retro gaming's uncharted waters, and today we're dropping anchor on Overboard for the PlayStation 1, a pirate-themed action game that promises a high seas adventure. But does this treasure shine, or is it more of a sunken chest? Let's hoist the mainsail and find out. Released in 1997 by the legendary crew at Psygnosis, Overboard, or Shipwreckers if you're in the Americas, plopped players into the captain's hat of a little pirate ship, blasting enemies, solving puzzles and gathering booty. Psygnosis was no stranger to experimental games, having already wowed gamers with Wipeout and Lemmings. Overboard sailed in a different direction, blending naval combat and light-hearted chaos. But with the PS1 awash with incredible titles, this game struggled to stay afloat in a sea of competition. Game reviews at the time praised its originality, as it looked and felt unique next to the other titles on the system, but perhaps when compared to other games in the genre, such as Sid Meier's Pirates, it is barely remembered. The gameplay is a mixed bag of loot, matey. You steer your ship through 25 levels, battling enemy vessels, dodging traps and solving environmental puzzles. You've got an arsenal of cannonballs, mines and fireballs to blast your foes to Davy Jones's locker. There's even multiplayer, though it's supposedly more of a plank walking party than a full-blown skirmish. Not that I would know, because as usual I have no friends to play with, so I've spent absolutely no time on that mode. The game does feel unique, as I've already stated, when compared to other offerings on the PS1, and it is enjoyable to sail around and try to work out where you need to go. There's no on-screen map, so you have to explore and navigate your way around the levels a bit, which might make it quite realistic, almost like being a real pirate. So it is pretty fun in that regard. The end of area bosses are quite diverse too. They can be quite difficult to defeat, but they look great. Some truly terrifying sea monsters to take on, including one quite reminiscent of the legendary Nessie of Loch Ness. But here's the rub. The controls are stiffer than a plank on a stormy night. Steering your ship feels clunky, and lining up cannon shots can be frustratingly imprecise. It's a shame because the game's chaotic nature could have been pure swashbuckling fun with smoother handling. Instead, you'll often find yourself shipwrecked by the game's mechanics rather than enemy fire. Plot? There's barely a whisper of it in these waters. You're a pirate, on a quest for riches and revenge, but don't expect a deep tale of betrayal on the high seas. The story is as thin as a sail in the wind, but to its credit, Overboard leans into its campy, cartoonish tone. It's more about blowing things up than spinning yarns. There's a cinematic opening video, and there's an occasional cutscene like the game over sequence, but other than that, it's lacking any real story. Visually, Overboard has a certain charm. Bright, colourful levels brimming with palm trees, forts and winding waterways. It's got that classic PS1 look with the jagged edges and the pixelated textures that scream 90s nostalgia. The top-down perspective works well for the game, but the camera can be as unruly as a drunken sailor, especially in the tighter areas. Still, there's enough visual variety to keep the eye candy flowing, even if the graphics look a bit barnacle encrusted by today's standards. And I do quickly want to mention the little crew members who abandon ship whenever your vessel is on fire. They're very cute, and they reminded me of the matey that features in the kids game pop-up pirate. If you remember that, let me know in the comments. The sound design is a mixed treasure chest. The music is jaunty and piratey, with each area of levels having their own distinctive feel musically, with steel drums on the Caribbean levels for example, so it is enough to keep your peg leg tapping, but it can get a little bit repetitive, faster than a sea shanty on a loop. The sound effects are serviceable, cannon blasts and ship creaks, but they don't pack much punch. There's little to no voice acting, which is probably for the best, because the dialogue would most likely be cheesier than all these pirate puns that I've packed this video with. So, is Overboard worth charting a course for? Well mateys, this one's a bit of a leaky vessel. The bright visuals, chaotic gameplay and quirky pirate theme might make it a hidden gem for some retro fans, but the clunky controls, shallow story and repetitive soundscape weigh it down like a chest full of cannonballs. In the end, Overboard is a game that promises high seas adventure but struggles to deliver a smooth voyage. It's fun for a quick romp, but don't expect it to steal your gaming heart. I'm going to give this one 5 out of 10, right down the middle of the plank. And there you have it, crew. What do you think of Overboard? Is it buried treasure or does it belong in the brig? Let me know in the comments below, and if you've liked the video, give it a like, subscribe for more retro gaming adventures, and until next time, stay safe and keep gaming.
Pirate Captain, blah 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 blah, go.
Ghost ship. Sorry.